I'm super excited about today because we're going to dive into the essence of what it takes to really become a magnetic force when you are showing up on social media. What are the parts that we need in order to be magnetic? And then I'm going to walk you through a fail-proof strategy for creating a marketing visibility strategy that's not only going to resonate with your audience, but it's going to get them to actually take some action. So the whole point of showing up online is to activate people, right? We want to create conversations, and those conversations, we want those conversations to convert into leads, and those leads into prospects, and prospects into clients or customers. Now, the foundation of building trust and authority as a personal brand has 4 parts. The first one is mastering storytelling that resonates with your audience. Now, when I say mastering, here's the thing I want you to know about this. To master something takes 10,000 hours. Did you guys know that? Mastering something takes 10,000 hours. So what we're talking about is not something that you just like woke up and you know how to do. My job, and if we work together in the future, is to help you to fast track that mastery, right? But this takes practice and consistency. It doesn't happen overnight. But storytelling now is one of the most powerful ways to really heighten that thought leadership, trust, and authority with your audience, because it's a faster way of connecting with people on an emotional level where they feel like you are relevant to what it is they need. When you resonate with people, you resonate because they have felt this connection. And that happens typically with storytelling, giving examples of experiences, sharing case studies, talking about your own journey, not just focusing on the features of what you offer, but talking about the reasons why this works. And of course, the hows and the whats of how it works. The second thing is humanizing your brand. So my favorite way of humanizing brands is to use video. It's the fastest way because you actually see a human. There's so much more power to watching someone and listening to their words than actually people reading text and content. And I'm not saying you don't do written text content at all. I'm not saying that, because people do consume content in various ways, in different ways, but video is the fastest way to actually humanize a brand. And that's why you see a lot of corporate brands for years now using influencers. They need a face in front of that brand because the logo is not going to work. That's how large brands are humanizing their own brands. The third thing is being transparent, and that's a huge way of building trust with your audience. And then the fourth is leveraging authentic content for engaging and for converting your audience, which again, for us, we focus on video to do that. And so we talked about the first step to doing this is to have this identity shift and understand that we need to become the personal brand specifically in these conversations that we're having on social media with our content. One of the easiest ways to start positioning yourself as a thought leader, as an expert in your industry, is to start cleaning up your social media profiles. And what I mean by that is literally go into your, for example, your personal Facebook, let people know what you do by changing your title to more than just CEO, owner, or founder, right? We want to give more of an active title. Like for me, visibility consultant or visibility coach and strategist. So you are more than just an owner or a founder of something as a business owner. Cleaning up your content needs to also reflect that level of expertise that you claim that you have. So if your content looks like Walmart and you want it to look like Neiman Marcus, then you need to be putting yourself out there like Neiman Marcus. Okay. Just to say, by the way, I shop at Walmart. But when we're talking about perception of quality of ourselves and of our presence, we need to up-level our presence. And we start that with how we're positioning ourselves. All right. So here's the thing. This is not going to be like a one size fits all for everyone because everyone's personality is different. Everyone's lifestyle is different. And that's why I talk a lot about creating a unique marketing strategy for yourself, which is what we're going to talk today. This is what we do with our clients. We don't have a one size fits all. I have a framework that I know works. Within that framework, what we want to do is we want to customize it to work with you specifically for your business, for your lifestyle, and for your personality. So if you're somebody that follows somebody else, because I've done this before in the past, you find this, high profile mentor that maybe you don't work with one-on-one, may not even know you, but you follow them and you think, oh, this is working for them. I'm going to try this. And then you try it and then it doesn't work. This is why it doesn't work, because we're so focused on just the strategy that we focus on foundations and fundamentals built. And this person's personality is completely different than yours. Their, brand tone is different than yours. It's not going to work that way. Okay. So that's why we start with foundations of like burning those limiting beliefs and those myths that we have about ourselves, because what we need to do is to really embody ourselves in our business so that we understand that we hold more than a title or a position. I really want us to work on embodying ourselves as that personal brand, as who you say that you are, and not focus so much on the strategy. And there's this tremendous value with what you do and the work that you do. But the thing is that we miss out on is that we forget that it actually becomes priceless and it will attract those that you align with when you actually get out of your way. Today, we're going to talk about video. And with that said, in order to actually do this in a way that's not going to be awkward, that you're not hesitate, you may get nervous, but in order to do this so that you stick with it and you commit to yourself, we have to get out of our way. Okay. So there's 3 steps to this, to creating a visibility strategy that's not going to feel awkward and weird, and that's really going to align with you. And the first part of this are just understanding that there's 9 elements or so to add to your visibility strategy. Now, you don't need to have all of these 9 elements in every single piece of content that you put out there and every single video that you put out there. But what I want you to think about this being kind of like a personal brand checklist for you. Okay. The first one is your why. You have to start with the reason why you began your business, you began your journey, you began the passion for your industry or your niche. Like, you have to know that, right? So when I ask people your why and they tell me, because I want to pay off my bills, that's not really a why. And that is actually a scarcity why. Your why needs to go much deeper. In order for you to stay committed to creating a long-term business and to, doing the work of showing up as a personal brand on your own, if you don't have the capacity yet to hire a team and support, in order to stay committed, you need to really dive deep into what is it that ignites your passion for what you do. Because look, I've been going live on Facebook and LinkedIn, but in multiple places now for years. Believe me, I would rather do something else with those 10, 15 minutes of my time and with the time that it takes me to plan out my content for an entire month, right? But I am committed to it because I'm passionate about sharing this with women and men just like yourselves. So number 1 is your why. Number 2 is you want to really dive into, and for yourself, but also in the future, you can share this also in your content, your early life experiences or your stories that influence your path. So I'm going to share a really quick one with you, which is actually part of a keynote talk that I use. And it's my brand story of growing up as a dancer and loving all of the pieces to a dance. I danced from the age of 7 to 18. I competitively danced. However, I was also very scared of the stage. And people, when I tell them this, are like, how? I don't understand. You love being on video. No, I was really scared of the stage. So I had stage fright big time. But what changed it for me was when I hit the stage and I saw people's faces in the audience and I saw their reactions, their emotion with, seeing the dance. And I saw all of the movement and the costumes and the makeup and the choreography and all of those pieces put together. For me, that was what I was passionate about. So that took my stage fright away. And I use that same concept with marketing. It's all of these pieces of marketing put together is really what creates a visibility strategy and a marketing strategy that works and that aligns with you. But that is my passion. And I believe my passion comes from that. Same thing with I've shared this before too. I love those 1,000-piece puzzles. I love fixing messy marketing. For me, it's like a challenge, just like doing one of those puzzles, right? So I want you to think of your background, your early life, your childhood, what are some life experiences or stories that have influenced your path? Okay. The second thing is any challenges and triumphs that you've had. What are turning points in your business or significant moments that have shaped your journey? The same thing with overcoming obstacles. You want to write down for yourself, what are stories of resilience, learning, and growth? And how have those challenges made you a better person and also better at what you do? The fourth thing is your unique value statement, right? So that's going to give you this distinctiveness. What's going to set you apart from other people in your industry? This could be your approach, your methods, your values, your experiences. Your proof of expertise can also be a part of this. So showcasing any recognitions, achievements, testimonials, reviews, those types of things, case studies. Number 5 is your vision and mission. So think of your dream, like the bigger picture of your dream. Where do you see yourself or your clients in the future because of what you do, because of the impact that you are creating? Okay, so you want to have that down as well. Any personal anecdotes? This is going to be like behind the scenes. Write down like, what is your daily life like? What is your routine like? What's your work process like? Client stories can also be a part of this. Success stories, testimonials, real life examples that you feel are going to build trust and relatability. Number 7 is the invitation. So having an ideal client description, like literally writing down what your client looks like and what their life is like. So it's not just to say, okay, Susie is between the ages of 25 to 44. She has 2 kids. She lives in Florida. She went to college and she's a teacher. No, we want to dive deep. Like, what kinds of food does she like to eat? Does she work out? What types of groceries does she buy? Is she organic or vegan? Or, does she eat meat? Does she like to work out? Does she like luxury items? Does she travel? And then even deeper, what is keeping her up at night as it relates to your industry, to your offers, to what it is that you solve? Number 8 is having a call to action. So having a call to action for everything that you do in your business, even if it's a piece of content that's just like an inspirational quote, you should have a call to action on that. Like on a scale from 1 to 10, does this resonate with you? But being intentional, so you already know what your call to actions are, right? Ask questions. So encouraging your audience to interact with you can be call to actions. And then you can have direct call to actions to things like scheduling a call with you, signing up for a newsletter, or simply commenting on your post because it was helpful. Those are all call to actions. And then the 9th thing is your visuals and just the look of your brand, right? So your authentic imagery, using genuine photos. The less that we can make our content to look produced, the better. Now, I think, there's definitely the time and place for things to have more production to them. But even when it comes to just, doing a post and promoting, some of my posts were just pictures of me with nothing. It didn't have any text on it or anything. And you don't have to have a brand photo shoot done to make this work. Same thing with your videos. Your videos don't need to be overly produced at all. Okay. Like if you followed me for some time, you'll see that I'll do videos while I am hot and sweaty on my walks, right? But something came to me that I really felt was necessary for me to communicate to the world. And so I did it right there in the moment. Now, would I have done that when I first started doing video in the very beginning? Absolutely not. Okay. So remember, a lot of this takes practice and consistency. So essentially what you want to do is you want to take number 1 through 9 and literally type this out in a document using those titles so that you can always go back and refer to it. This document can create loads of content for you because we don't just want content to be specifically directed towards your offers, your services, and your products. That is not going to get people to connect with you on a human level. That is not going to humanize your brand. We want to incorporate incorporate all of these other things with it as well. All right, next up. So the second part to building a visibility marketing strategy is really to understand your audience. Okay. And we talked a little bit about this when I was going through those 9 elements, but we want to make sure that every piece of content that we put out there is speaking to them so that they're thinking like, wow, how does she know that I'm dealing with this right now? That is literally what we want our audience to think. Okay. And this is how we are going to resonate with them. We're going to be more relevant with them, and we're going to stop them from scrolling through your content, right? We want people to stop what they're doing to pay attention to what it is that we're putting out there, because if not, then we're just wasting our time, right? Creating content. So we want our content to click for our audience. And, there are some pieces of content that you'll get crickets. Nothing will happen. That is normal. I still get that. There's other factors involved too. It could be the way that the message is being articulated, but it could also be because I haven't been engaging on social media. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that too towards the end today, but there's a lot of different factors why people may not be, commenting or sharing or even reacting to a post. But aside from those factors, we want to make sure that what we're putting out there is really creating conversations. So it gets people to start thinking and start saying yes to you in small bite-sized pieces. And a yes could be a comment. Like when somebody comments on your content, they may not be saying yes to your offer, but they are now, it's kind of like playing the game of catch, right? So the more content that we put out there that people are engaging on, they're commenting on, they're reacting to, these are small bite-sized yeses. And the more that we can do that and be consistent with it, when it does come time to make an offer, an official offer, or to ask people to sign up for something, or, maybe you reach out to them personally and you offer them something, they are more likely to take action on that than not if you're not getting them to react on your content prior. And so we do this by speaking to their desired beliefs, by shifting their beliefs and installing new beliefs with our content. And you're wondering, okay, but how do I know what they believe in now and what they should believe? And that's where doing a deep dive into understanding your audience really plays a part. All right. So there are 5 questions that you want to ask yourself. And this is a great exercise for any piece of content or any offer, any service that you have out there or that you have. You can do this exercise for each of those, and you will come up with so much content that will be relevant to your offer that will actually speak to your audience. Okay. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, why should they come to you as their solution rather than someone else? So what do they need to believe about you that you are their solution than someone else? Your answer to this could be because I walk the talk, because I've had this many years as an expert doing this, because I have this proven method, because, maybe it's something more personal. So like, let's say you are a relationship coach, right? Let's say you yourself have been divorced and that's what you help women with. There's a more personal example of why you could be the expert for them. Okay. The second question is, why them? Meaning, what are they telling themselves about themselves that they need a solution? So for example, if you are a health coach, maybe they are telling themselves they want to lose weight. They're sick of dieting. They aren't happy with how they look and feel, right? So what are the things that they are telling themselves as to why they need to seek a solution? The third one is why your offer, service, or product. What do they need to know? Meaning, what does your audience need to know about your offer, service, or product in order for them to be certain that it is going to be their solution? And I don't mean like, what do they need to know about the features of your product? And features would be something like, for example, when you work with us inside of our Ignite Your Influence Society every other week, so almost twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month, for up to 2 hours each session, you get access to a gold mine of a vault full of resources. Those are features. That's not what's going to get you results, right? So we want to talk about the benefits. What are the benefits to your offer, service, or product that they need to know about in order for them to feel certain that that product, offer, or service is their solution? The fourth question is, why do they need this now? Like, what do they need to believe that needs to change in order for them to use your product, service, offer, or solution? What is it about now being the moment? So, for example, we offer our Ignite Your Power video system, right? Why you would need this now? Because video now is one of the most consumed, or it is the most consumed type of content out there. And so you don't want to be left behind, right? So that's the reason why now this is important. And then the fifth question is, why not? Like, what do they say to themselves as to why they would not say yes to your offer, service, or product? And basically, these are objections. That one's typically like the easiest one to come up with. So what objections do you typically get from people? Is it maybe they don't have time? Maybe they've already invested in other programs and, they're scared it's not going to work. Is it they don't have the money? Those are all objections. Those are all why nots. Okay, here's why this is so powerful. Because on your own, what you would want to do on your own is for each of those questions, you want to write like 5 answers. Okay. Then each of those answers converts into a piece of content. Why is that important? Because you're now creating content that actually is going to resonate and be relevant to your ideal client rather than just pulling ideas out from nowhere. Make sense? This is how we speak to our audience's energy rather than us putting content out there that we feel they need to hear, right? What people want is to get their questions answered. And the best way to answer their questions with our content is to be direct to their current beliefs. And then how do we install different beliefs, the opposite of their current belief? And so we want to articulate our message in a way that gets them to see the possibility of where they can be on the other side of their current belief. Because the goal is to do what we call 1 power value based video, 1 per week. Okay. So power value based videos, these are different than short form video. Short form video are videos like Reels, TikToks, Shorts on YouTube, right? They can be like 5 seconds long to 60 seconds long. On TikTok, they can now be up to 10 minutes long, but we're not talking about short form. So when I talk about short form, that is going to be like something between 30 seconds to 90 seconds long. Power value-based videos, which is what I call them, are around 10 to 15 minutes long. If you follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn, this is what I do every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, where I share some value. I give some insight, some tips. I have a call to action, and then I'm off, right? We want to try and do 1 a week. These videos not only begin to create like a digital footprint for you, but it's now also content that you can create other content from. So what I encourage you to do is to commit to scheduling in your calendar once a week, a live video. If you can do it live, we'll talk about recorded in just a second. Commit to doing one once a week, schedule it on your calendar so that it falls on the same day of the week at the same time. The reason why it's so helpful to do that is because, number one, if it's on your calendar, at least for me, if something's on my calendar, it's blocked off. I'm not going to do anything around that time. And you may be thinking, but what if my schedule changes? But having it on your calendar is a commitment already, right? So that's the first thing. So mentally, it's like already a commitment. The second reason to have it on your calendar and to have it on the same day of the week at the same time is because then it becomes routine for you, but also routine for your audience. And in essence, becomes kind of like a series or a show. Okay. People now over time, so like I said, this does not happen overnight, but over time, when you keep up with this consistency, people start to see you as a resource, as a thought leader. This is how you start to build your authority. And it really does give you a heightened level of credibility. Okay, so that's really creating a video visibility marketing strategy, one that actually is speaking to your audience. It's speaking to what they want, not what you feel they need. And it's going to be resonating with them, which is what we want. We want to increase this place of being resonant with our audience. And we just keep growing from there. And the financial success that you have from showing up online in this way is a byproduct of your continued pursuit to that higher purpose of showing up. So the good thing is if you have a deep passion and you want to make a bigger impact, it doesn't have to take, 5+ years to really get to this elevated level, both in your business, in your financial success, in your personal life, with how it impacts your personal life. And again, it's just having that consistency and that support. Okay, beautiful ladies, I will see you then. Bye.